The planet you're on, Juno, has enormous fleets of navy squadrons. It is the capital world of Askellon, commanding obedience and disarmament of every ship and faction surrounding the world. It is a lush and colorful world, covered in a dim yellow hue of metallic smog. The city hives and manufactura are scattered around primarily one part of the planet. The ruling hub of the prefect, the Pellucid Tower, is an ancient structure which houses thousands of local governors and ministers from every planet in the sector. The local government of this planet is connected to the Administratum and lives in Vesuna Regis, the planet capital, which you are in right now. There are also gigantic temples built to the local saint Valerius, and the most important of them being the Basilica of Valerius Risen, home to the sector's Ministorum Synod. There are also massive navy and Astartes bases on the planet. Habitable moons hovering the planet, used by the elites to retreat to, where they have their own sort of autonomous rule. There are also underground pits, hives of witches and mutants that are thrown out of the cities. Non-cybernetic citizens, menials, make up most of the population and live in industrialized cities scattered around the impossibly large capital. The capital houses the world's wealthiest nobles, the most pitiful menials, as well as a score of mutants living in underground tunnels. There is little Mechanicus presence, aside from the distant forges and the old basilica. You have been ordered by your Inquisitor to try to find out where the what the origin of the Pandemonium is. The Pandemonium is a warp storm that is raging through the sector. You have traced it down to the capital itself. You have the help of an old sage, an old inquisitorial sage, and you're using Durulis Apocrypha to sort of piece together what has happened here, as well as his recollection. And there is some ancient sin, is what it is referred to, on this planet that is causing the storm to exist, or near this planet. In that regard, you're investigating everyone and everything. You were sent here undercover to be completely anonymous, to be disguised as citizens of the planet. You were sent in as menials. No one knows you are of importance. You have just been wandering the streets, risking your lives, knowing that if you die, there will be no memorial for you, no inquisitorial rosette to pull out. your comrades would likely deny your existence. Gathering what information you can, getting familiar with the planet, you're preparing for to spring into action from this warehouse. You know of no heresy being committed by the sector prefect. He is currently out of reach for you, presumably living in the Pellucid Tower, which is guarded by rows and rows of legions of dark brood. He has given his rule of the planet to the Chancellery, the local administratum. They consist of 8 Regis councillors who meet every day. They are protected by the Vigil, the local arbitrators. They can only be sentenced by the prefect. And there are rumors that one of these councillors is under investigation and suspected of heresy. That is Senator Lester Holst. You have a few inquisitorial resources on the planet to help you. That is Jericho's right-hand man, Tetricus, who's currently in the base with you right now. He is a rather large abhuman, unusually intelligent for an augur. And he is sitting there with his low stick next to the repair kits and wheels. It smells of tobacco and oils. Jericho, your pilot and contact that you've chosen to take with you on this mission, is currently laying in his bunk. And you have just gathered a sample of mutant/xeno genetic code that you took from one of the guards guarding the mutants held by the Archgenitor Magus Seredict. As you stand there and look at the vials, those are suspicious indeed, and anything that involves mutants, of course, is heretical. It does not directly relate to the warp storm, but gathering what information you can on officials, this at least directly ties back to the Vigil, who are the elite guards of the 8 councillors. So it is adjacent. And that's where we can begin. You also know that you've made an agreement that when you contact the Vigil, the central Vigil station, they will spring into action, and you will be called into the station, and then you will be given access to the elite channels and elite levels of this planet. Through the Vigil, they will give you complete authority, and you can operate not openly and not ruining your subtlety. That's not what we're talking about. You're still undercover, but you will be given access to the administratum, etc., under the authority of Lord Wilhelm, the chief of the Vigils on this planet. You could look at them as the NSA or FBI combined. You will then basically be cooperating with them rather than being anonymous agents on the streets, which you are currently. And that's just a level of more risk, more people that you're tied to, more possible leaks, whereas now you have none, but you also have no access. So that's where we can begin. In the warehouse. In a central district of Vesuna Regis called the Soleum. You're hearing noises from the tech priest working on something in the medical lab. And we can begin with you. Well, you can just take turns and describe your characters. And also, I'm going to assume that you are in the building, Nicholas. Or if you want to arrive.
I'll like to roleplay my arrival.
Mm-hmm.
Should I start?
Go for it, everyone. Just go one by one.
Through the door, as you said, Boyle, you were on the lookout, correct? A few moments ago.
Yeah, sure. Boyle could be on the lookout for this.
As you stand sentry over the compound, the small base you have prepared for yourselves, you see in a distance some flashing lights, as well as some ganders making a hubbub. Nothing unusual, until you can smell the distinct flavorful smell of burning flesh, as soon a gander who just previously, a few minutes ago, jovially walked to his group as to shake down someone, brandishing one of his knives, licking it menacingly, turns the corner. A few seconds later, he runs away from behind the building, illuminating the streets as he's bathed in holy promethium. As your eyes adjust to the bright lights and peer down from your watch post, you see a very large figure who is adorning ecclesiastical robes with decorations that announce his devotions to the god emperor of mankind and his holy imperium. From the white cloak, you see an old face with a large black beard and a white stripe coming from his chin, as he looks at you and waves his hand. He seems to be carrying a large flamer connected to something to his back.
And this man waves at Boyle, a sort of 5'11", hunched down to a more manageable 5'9", sort of leaning over the railing. It's hard to tell in the darkness, but from the illumination that you've created, it looks like he's wearing sort of like a patchwork overcoat with sewn-in pockets. Over all of that is a flak vest covered in even more. You can tell in his hands is an Imperial Guard issue longlaz, and you can see that a moment ago, before you waved, he was aiming down its sights at you. But seeing you sort of wave at him, he almost surprised looks back, gives a little nervous half wave, and then will begin to scamper down into the residence that he was standing on.
As you scamper down, I assume you are going to open a door for him or an enter path for him to enter.
Rather than that, Boyle's just going to take a step outside, notably close the door behind him, and he watches you approach, walks up to you. Hello, Father. Lovely weather we're having. Can I help you?
As you say that, the pilot flame on his of his flamer snuffs out as your eyes are drawn to the gun shield upon the flamer, and you see it written "Salvation lies here" as two hands point towards the flamer's nozzle.
Boyle gulps nervously.
Young man, do you not care for a traveler who has been on the beaten path and has been weathering the hardships of the road? And as he removes his cloak, you see that from these leathery robes, a tattoo of what you assume to be a Sister of Battle, wind striking the mutant through its mouth with a chain glaive. As in Low Gothic is written, "Suffer not abominations to live," as he reveals his entire figure. He says, "My throat is parched. Please allow me a moment of respite amongst the flock of those that serve the Imperium and His Holy Majesty the Emperor. Would you?"
I think I have some water and some food we can give you, but I don't think we have enough space to stay the night. We're pretty packed in here, I'm afraid. You know, bunch of manufactorum workers and the like.
Worry yourself not, young one, for I know your true nature, and I'm here to offer my services to your cause.
Boyle will squint his eyes and say, my true nature. I don't quite get your meaning. I'm just a standard, you know, ex-Imperial Guard soldier, just looking over these people for a bit of coin.
Ah, a servant of the throne in one way or another. Yeah, we both know that that coin is offered by none other than Castor Typh, correct? Your patron.
I guess I should let you inside, kind sir. I think we can find another room for you. And Boyle will crack open the door and sort of in a half bow, half like theatrical gesture, will let you in. Eyes resting on the heavy flamer you're holding.
You amuse me on one as you see, you feel the cold touch of the mechanical left hand on your shoulder as it is written mercy upon its knuckles. But you do not need to do such theatrics, for much like yourself, my role is a humbled one. Be at ease when speaking with me, as he proceeds to attach the proper flaming device to the backpack ammo supply to his back, and you see it to be a small shrine with half-lit candles that in the middle of it is a earth shaker round, which you assume it has been hollowed out in order to store promethium. The shrine itself seems to be made out of a dark wood and doesn't attract too much of an appearance, at least not to those that don't look too close to it.
I'll keep that in mind. And Boyle will slip in behind you, giving a nod to Franz as he walks by.
Franz, standing watching the interaction as they come in through the front door, basically just raises one eyebrow at Boyle. A slight shake of the head as he walks across to the preacher and says, "Franz, and we call you..."
Nicholas Tromotis, servant of the ecclesiarchy, preacher of his holy Ministorum, disciple of Capillen. Should my fate have been different, I would have served under you, Commissar, as this is the last part in battle chants.
Well, it's probably a good thing that you didn't, or else we would never have the pleasure of meeting. I'm assuming our guard dog has thoroughly vetted you?
Yes, and he is quite a useful one. He has seen through me and made sure that I am of worthy stock to join your small group here. Although he is a bit jumpy.
Hearing both of the two sort of begin conversing, Boyle's going to scamper off to the medical labs.
Anyway, I believe that you were looking for a little bit of this, and he's going to hand him a small flask of something to wet his whistle with.
It is good to see that faithful servants of the throne still have some manners. I thank you. As he makes a respectful bow, not too low, but a recognizable one, as he takes, and with greatly downs a more than generous sip as a bit of the liquid from his from the corner of his mouth, showing a certain veterancy of partaking in such small pleasures, as he hands it back to you.
He'll also take a drink, and whenever he's done, he will wipe his mouth and say, well, we must seek medicinal remedies where we can.
A weary soul cannot heal in a weary body, and it is our duty to minister the necessary rites to ensure enlightenment, Commissar.
Indeed. Minister the flesh as well as the spirit. And with that, he'll have a slight chuckle and, go back to trying to ascertain what is in these vials.
A dim light from the morning sun sort of shines through the open door to the outside. There's a bit of smog from the city coming in. As you look out, the sky looks very inviting at first. If you peek your head out and your eyes adjust to the light, you will see this layer of smog sort of laying over the city, but the light shines through and it is very bright outside. There's a thick smell of oil in the room. Tetricus gets up. He has a dirty towel on his knee that he sort of wraps off and puts on the table. Stands up and takes out his glow stick. Oh, I don't mean to interject, but I thought you should know. Jericho has something for us. He'll be contacting us soon.
As Tetricus interjects, Nicholas looks at his chest and looks up at him and says, "Oh, there. You're a pretty big guy."
He smiles. For you.
Well, I'm glad you're on our side.
You're a small guy with a big gun.
And a bigger soul, some say.
He chuckles. If Vegas Castor would send another confessor, we don't need prayers.
Nay, I do not believe you do. 'Tis only the holy that serve, but a bit of warmth to both allies and enemies as the Pajama supply, he shakes it a bit, and you can hear the Prometheum jostling about within the emptied shell. He says, "There was a long way."
He slowly walks up and sort of taps the bottle that you're holding, Franz. Never mix alcohol and gasoline. And then he takes out his glow stick and sort of holds it next to the bottle.
The corner of Nitrolas's mouth rise up as he says that.
No one said
But
it wasn't.
you were saying, Franz.
Jericho will, or Tetricus will look back at the Voxcaster on the table. We'll walk over to it and begin operating it.
With the sound of a loud clap that echoes through the entire facility,
shit.
he will say, "Gather round, people. The Prime has a word for us."
The clattering of falling supplies can be heard from the medical lab. The scampering of them quickly being put back into place, and then Boyle will peek his head around the stairs and walk back into the garage and go take a seat near the Voxcaster. Sorry, just had something to take care of real quick. His pockets, the ones on his clothes, not his combat vest, look a bit fuller.
Tetricus is just listening for now. Then he turns around. Should I turn on the speaker?
That would help.
As he turns it on, you can hear a distant voice getting louder and louder. This is a rare opportunity. Egnon the Cambri, veiled Councillor. He is headed to Desoleum now. If something were to happen to him, it would spoil the investigation. It is your choice whether you engage. Just thought you would like to know.
No, you possess a data package regarding his route and entourage.
It will be sent to you now.
This humble priest thanks the legate for his warnings and virtue.
Mr. Cambri is responsible for choosing which hopeful citizens should be cast out beyond the veil. A handler of mutants.
So
He might
he's
be negotiating with some lesser factions on the planet. Be on your guard.
we understand, legate.
Jericho will hover his hand over the end call button. He just looks over his shoulder at all of you. And then he presses it. the coordinates.
As somebody that oversees the mutant issue upon this planet, I believe all of you have investigated previously, correct?
A bit before my time, but I could see if they left any records around. Neil, you were an investigator. Do you have any reports about this person from the Shadow Council?
Well, it's time, isn't it? Looking at Franz from it turns out, corner of the room, he was lying down and seeming to be trying to rest due to, as you all know, his newest limb. Whether or not the exactly newest member is yet familiar. Yes, I had them. And I do tend to know how a lot of the arbitists work. There are a few other possibilities. However, the fact that they haven't done this at all, at bare minimum, leaves a lot of question about whoever the hell's at the head of them right now. Who's actually making the decision? What information do they have? And why?
Well, it is believed that the head overseer of such blasphemies as mutants seems to be on the move. He either plans of passing the new legislation or get something done regarding this issue. And Zaul, the legate, seems to worry for his safety.
Jericho pulls out his data slate. It says right here, he's negotiating the acquisition of some new mutants. Apparently he's purchasing mutants from the criminals. That's why he's in the Soleum. That's why he's exposed. Otherwise he'd be protected by... well, everything.
And off-the-book investigations or perverse fascination?
Why not both?
It seems he's not actually doing his job. And he's been exposed now versus where he would have been hidden before. This could be a good time for us to begin to swoop more in. But we must make certain that our timing is careful, especially when it comes to dealing with not only him, yet the rest of the arbitists. And some of our friends we may run into again. Knocks on his leg that you can now hear metal from. Before.
Right. Everything put together, I think it's quite clear what we need to do. We scope out the place where this deal is supposed to be happening. We acquire some rather nice and faraway firing positions. Do our best to make sure that he gets all nice and gift wrapped and then sick either Franz or Neil on him, depending on who's feeling up to it that day. Does that sound like a amicable plan, everyone?
You hear a bit of a shotgun sort of click. Sounds fine right now to me.
I look forward to my many labors and ministration that I shall perform this day. As you hear the knuckles on his non-mechanical hand crack inadvertently.
All right then. Boyle will clap his hands together and stand up. We have the location. How much time do we know until he arrives there?
Tadrius looks down. He says, we have many hours. He's not coming there before.
Perfect.
He interprets it back to you and it's like 8 hours at least.
Excellent. This is plenty of time. And because you and your friend have done all the work, that means that all we need to do is scope out the area, find a couple keen spots to sit and wait, and then grab them. And probably take care of the gangers too. Maybe grab their leader if we can.
Another question though.
How many gangers?
Nice.
Considering they're corralling mutants, assuming that it's the mutants that we saw, capable of that kind of constant mutation, I'd say that there will be a fair few. But considering we can probably rig up a couple little surprises for them when they arrive, I don't think there'll be too much of an issue.
You got a major part of us
I'm
dealing with.
most concerned about is what this Shadow Councillor might bring as a bodyguard.
That is a true consideration to make, especially depending on what he's got access to. Well, the business we know he's now apparently involved in.
Regardless, every second we waste here is time that we could have spent familiarizing ourselves with the area. So let's all pile in. If you don't mind dropping us a good, call it a couple blocks away from the spot, and we can scope around in a spiral formation. He's talking to Tetragus as he says, like dropping
puts a foot on the huge wheel. You can hear his huge boots squeaking up against the rubber. I'm driving again. I feel like everyone's looking at me. All funny.
I don't want to be that guy, but we got gangers. We have probably elites, bodyguard units. We have potentially mutants, which were able to shred a combat servitor that would have shredded the three of us in seconds. Do we have anything maybe a little bit bigger than a sniper rifle?
We have that, and Boyle will point towards the heavy flamer carried by the priest.
Oh, trust me. This, along with my burning faith, well, though you know the saying stop, drop, and roll, it won't help.
Plus, I tend to find things a lot more comfortable from 300 meters away.
Me and Franz will be probably getting closer, but there is one other thing.
Tetragus pulls us this combat shotgun, turns it around, revealing a grenade launcher with 4 grenades loaded. I've got a lot of grenades.
Plus, I guess on the way we could probably find a couple improvised explosives we could set up. Maybe a couple improvised mines and tripwires. You know, standard stuff.
Yeah, it's also one of the most major parts of us doing anything we did before, especially getting out the way we had before. I might not have quite heard as our apparently new associate came in, and I was obviously resting up after being on the mend. Yet speaking of that mend, anyone know where Fido and ZB are?
Believe ZB's just a bit busy with analyzing the scrap of DNA we got.
Does that make sense? Okay. I know that.
Perhaps I could give him at a later date a bit of my resources. I am a learned scholar after all, but that will have to wait after the mission.
Correct. Despite ZB's great skill in combat, I believe that the data that we have at hand is more pressing than, this. Considering it's solid and concrete, and this is, no offense to your operative, not exactly a guaranteed success.
Again, agreed. Just checking. The more of us we have at our disposal, the better. If we don't work together, we are dead.
True. That being the case, Franz, you are a trained military man. I suppose you'll be able to find a couple good firing points to channel their large numbers into a smaller amount, especially among hive streets.
And you see him lifting up what looks like a big boxy mine. So it is, I'm basically walking over to the thing, drop it in, and all you hear is a massive Well, considering I only have a bolt pistol and a plasma pistol, I decided to bring everything. So yeah, let's do what we can do. I'm sure we can get them somewhere. We can minimize their weight of numbers.
Excellent. In that case, let's be on our way so that we don't waste the, although comfortable, amount of time that we have. Boyle will slide into one of the back seats, and he's going to begin checking all his equipment.
Oh, right. Well, I'm here in regards to apprehension of their villain. He will produce 2 manacles. He will go to Neil and say, since you are of a close and personal nature, there are chances that you may have to apprehend him. Use this if you have the chance. And he will offer another one to Tetricus, as the third one rests within one of his front pouches.
And as Franz walks towards the van, you can see him going plasma pistol, bolt pistol, sword, scalpels. I'm basically just listing off everything that he has on his person.
Neil has a bit of a scowl. He's trying to observe and see if there's anything to pick up on when it comes to our newest member. It also seems blatantly a little bit distracted by, obviously, considering the information we have and the numbers we have, and obviously his newly added limb and the fact that it had to be added in the first place.
He turns his head towards you as if filling your question in gaze. And as you sit next to him in the van, he taps with his left hand your metallical foot, as he says, "Birds of a feather."
Right. I see. The tech priest will be thrilled when you get to meet him.
Boyle looks up. What are birds?
Avians, Boyle. Avians. Family of creatures that fly using their wings. Feathers. They flap them physically to keep up in the air. They have beaks.
Unless they are the leathery ones, which behave more like lizards, and they glide instead of truly flying.
Wait, so they just wear autoquills? That's weird.
That's a fair comparison. As he says with a smile, and you see his toothy grin. He's not very well kept, but his health does not seem to. It could have been due to the travel he has undertaken to the hideout. And as he stretches his neck, you do see some tattoos that aren't of the ecclesiastical variety, but more of a cabal or a cult of, still loyal to the Emperor, of less legal standpoint.
Kujuv's eyebrow blatantly perks up. A single one of them gives a bit of a tap over to Franz.
Yes.
I suppose work alignments aren't supposed to get in the way of this teaming. Seems there may be something a bit more mysterious about our new member's background than he's already told us. I know I'm one to talk yet. Councillor, investigator.
Our
Is he from where he says?
new member.
Yes.
There have been many new members.
The newest one. We're going on the mission now with him.
I think we can trust a man of the cloth, don't you? And he'll say it loud enough so that everyone in the vehicle can hear.
I hope so. Looks back one more time. Looks Boyle in the eyes. Seems
Boyle
not
isn't
upset.
paying attention.
Yeah, seems not upset or anything, just sort of trying to say, keep a lookout. And when he notices Boyle is just entirely distracted, he rolls his eyes and then turns back.
Does anyone see my last pack? I could have... Oh, it's already loaded. Okay, there we go. Oopsies.
Whether you decide to lurch to your right, you would see Nicholas having a wider smile, and you'd see that he must have had a genetic replacement for his teeth because they look extraordinarily sharp by design to be similar to that of a shark's, or imitating that of a shark's or a bear trap.
Huh. Nicholas, I can't help but notice that you, filed your teeth down to points. Is that something that they do on your homeworld?
This? No. Is neighborhood greeting I received when I was appointed to a chapel to keep watch of. It's good to know the locals.
I see. Well, always good to match with the people around you, good to conform and be the same as everyone else.
Oh, indeed. It is a preacher's duty to be there for the people he's supposed to guide towards the Emperor's light.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
It's not a simple work, but you don't need to worry about that.
Right.
The left pouch, you keep fiddling with it. And that's not where you put the hotshot last batch. It's to the right one.
Oh, no, I know that this isn't, and Boyle will quickly sort of shuffle his clothing to, like, cover that pocket, and you will see what looks like a flash of some sort of glass vial, before he covers it with some other random tattered clothing. You know, just some personal stuff.
Whatever keeps the cheater away, young one.
So, Neil, you got everything you need? Shotgun, bullets for shotgun, club?
I'm also packing one good ranged thing, admittedly. I have multiples, but not too many. However, my range will be primarily up close. Hopefully with this new leg, I can definitely do the movement that I was told would be very useful here, other than trying to put the information we find together. Plus, I'll have the Commissar with me.
Well, as long as we don't have any bear traps on the way, I'm sure you'll be fine.
Or, as I recommended before we went there, that if anyone does see anything, we speak up. That yes, hopefully there won't be any bear traps. Nor tainted and diseased water.
Right.
That sounded awfully specific.
It is.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Fear not, I shall immediately minister a prayer of fortune upon our group. As you see that from one of his pouches, he produces these large lensed reading glasses that once he puts them on his face, his eyes just grow 3 times wider if you look through them as he unfurls an ecclesiastical book to read from some chants.
Looks over one more time at Franz. How familiar would you be with men of the cloth?
Well, I suppose it really depends on which way you mean.
I'll have to look into it later. It seems we are beginning to approach our destination.
And as he finishes, as the saint, let suffer not the mutant to live, and bring holy illumination via Maltine flamer upon the houses that there ruin humanity at its core. With a heavy thud, he closes the litanies of faith as you feel ease go upon an ease washing over the group as he readies his small altar, checking it if it's very well tethered to his back.
Awesome.
Boyle will make the sign of the Aquila at the end of your psalm.
And finally, as you see Franz get up, he has already checked his power sword, and as he thumbs on the power stud for the plasma pistol, you can actually see a shiver visibly go up his back.
Inspiration point, Davi. Is who is driving?
I believe Tetricus.
Trickus.
If no one else goes into the driver's seat, Tetricus will sit down, rev the engine, and drive out. You're all blinded by the light for a brief second. And then you comfortably drive out to the main road. And you just look out the windows to see large railways above you, and as you drive towards Desoleum, you will begin to see large, dark, concrete buildings above you. The landscape changes from sort of warehouse district to more urban. You start to see more and more people. Finally, beautiful Gothic architecture, monorail trains sparkling above you in the sky, all sorts of people around the neon signs, and clubs lining the street. You will recognize some vigil patrols, but criminals seem to have taken over parts of the district. Modern markets where the wealthiest in society can buy things. You also see men in dark suits, or you're uncertain whether they're vigilantes. You know that you're close to the Regis Chancellery, the Administratum. Moving closer to the center of the city, to the location you heard the Chancellor was headed to, you see several tall buildings. All of them have at least 15 floors. They are much like the buildings here. Flat roofs, mostly habitations, and the establishment that the Chancellor is headed to looks to be some kind of semi-private club for members. It looks kind of upscale. There are mostly highborn people around here. You also see a few vigilites patrolling the streets, as well as local planetary guards. As you drive down the street, you can't really stop anywhere. You would have to drive into a back alley into some designated parking spot underground. So there are these ramps in between buildings where you can drive underground to a parking garage. Other than that, the streets are completely packed, and you're driving in traffic constantly. So as you're looking out the window, you'll just see a wall of people, and as you drive more and more towards the center of this urban landscape, the cars get more and more rare. You see fewer and fewer people. This is for invited people only. No one else has any business in these districts. They would just be harassed and won't really find anything of use. Any services open to them. As you drive down, you look out the window and you'll see several nobles in strange wigs, huge coats, extravagant hair, monocles, looking in your direction. Some of them stick their nose up at you. As you drive past them, you see Tetricus slowly sink down into his seat. He turns around, his face pale. I told you, they're looking at me. I don't fit in here. He begins driving around the building that you have been informed that the Chancellor is headed to. There are neon signs and lights as far up as you can see, and the establishment he is headed to is some kind of private club with guards standing outside. Any one of you can do a criminal underworld test at a -20. There's smog, dark, soot on the windows, and you can barely see the people outside. But those of you who can, try to recognize them. Boyle,
I will have 1 degree of success for criminal underworld.
you recollect something you read in the report for this planet. As you look at one of the men standing outside the establishment, you look at their clothes, nothing unusual. Gunmetal leather vest, these leather hats, auto guns. They walk around clearly displaying that they are criminals. And you see... you look up at their faces, and it's pretty clear, it's pretty obvious that they have ritual scars on their face. So their cheeks, their forehead, even their noses have been cut. Deep cuts with a knife. This is a flesh cutter gang. As you look around, you even recognize one of the brothers of Ananias, the local gang leader of the flesh cutters.
Boyle will nudge Neil and say, "Hey, Neil, check those guys out there. I think that's the brother of the local gang leader around here. One of the flesh cutters."
Looking at him, and a series of faces even a mother couldn't love.
They're
made right.
proudly displaying like weird katanas, double-edged knives sticking out in both sides, really grotesque weapons. On their chest they have several knives sort of attached to their vests. Some of them quite expensive equipment. They have large swords on their belts, and as they walk out they sort of stand there holding their belts, looking around like they own the place. You definitely get a feeling that this is their territory, quote-unquote.
Depending on how much it seems once we're out of the car, how obvious it is, of course, that the rest of us don't belong here. We may be having a rougher time than we expected, but I do believe we are prepared. Franz, any idea how you think our present odds hold out?
Well,
Not
there's only
good.
2 of them.
Please, you know there's more than 2.
Right now, I said. They're likely just doing what we're doing, scoping out the area before the deal goes down. Now, I say we do a little bit of counter-scoping. Let me out here.
Tetricus will immediately slow down You will just immediately, as you open the door, hear the bustle and talk. A wall of sounds of shouting, cars
Boyle
honking.
will attempt to tune out all this noise, sort of like weave through the streets to get onto the sidewalk, sort of like walk off to like stand on a corner. And while he's doing all this, he would like to attempt to read the lips of the two gangers as he sort of doesn't begin to close out on them, but it just sort of like circles them a bit, looking around, looking for like spots that he could duck into, other people of the same gang, PDF troopers or any of the local arbitres. Just getting a general vibe of the vicinity.
And Franz is going to pipe up and say, well, I didn't actually expect him to jump out of a moving vehicle.
So I'm gonna, for illustration purposes, say that this is the location that you have been informed of. And Caleb has been dropped off on the street.
Perfect.
Niall or Boyle.
Gotcha. Ready, bugger?
As you walk out, an auto carriage almost drives into you and you hear this loud honking sound. He sticks out the window. Starts yelling at you, waving his hand. Get out of the street, menial! Scum!
Even as he's screaming, Boyle is already, with his hive rat senses attuned, scampering across the street and is just going to attempt to fade into the crowd.
He follows you with his eyes as he drives past you. And as you stand on the side of the street, you will see several highborn ladies visibly recoil, walking backwards, looking you from head to toe. Their faces are marked with disgust.
Boyle will quickly slip into one of the back alleys before he causes any more of a commotion.
Got it. You easily do so because of the crowds.
Taking this opportunity, wandering about these back alleys, Boyle's going to sort of circle the area here, looking for sort of perches that he can sit on, areas that he could stand by that wouldn't be too noticeable, but that would give him a good view of the sort of surrounding circle around this club, maybe a couple views of the windows, while hopefully still remaining out of sight. Ideally, he'd find like 2 to 3.
You look around and you try to scope out the most important locations here. First, you spot ladders leading and fire escapes leading up all of the buildings. Every building has these. They're very well maintained. This part of the city is quite impressive. Not only is there a balcony on every floor, there is a staircase as well as ladders leading up. And each building also seems to have an elevator even, as well as several balconies and a rooftop that you can stand on. And you can do you can either do an inquiry test if you want to try to gather information, or you can do a scrutiny test to try to get a reading on the surroundings.
I think that by doing an inquiry test, that would involve like talking to people rather than looking around, right?
Yeah.
Boyle definitely does not fit into this environment, so he doesn't think that scrutiny would work very well. So he's instead just going to, using his eyes, take a look around, looking for.
No, scrutiny would not be talking to people. That is just discerning the surroundings.
Oh,
inquiry is to talk to people.
Right, it's my bad. In that case, yeah, Boyle's going to attempt to use scrutiny to look around.
Do it.
A single degree of success.
Alright. You will spot several guard posts in the main building. There are floodlights sort of pointed down to the street. There's a vigil car standing on the corner. So you will spot 2 vigilites sitting in that car. You don't know if they're here for this occasion or for some other reason. But they seem to be preoccupied talking to each other. There are up to 5 of the flesh cutters that you can see. There are also some men slowly walking up with guns under their vests. They have these huge leather vests, and you can see them sort of shifting around, occasionally adjusting the gun that they're holding inside of the vest. It's unmistakable that these men are armed, and they're walking up to either side of the building. They seem to be preparing, possibly, for the arrival of the suspect, the contact. And the person who is arriving again is one of the 8 councillors of the planet. An extremely important person. One in many, many million. He is responsible for choosing who goes to the Vale among mutants.
Boyle is going to fox all these, noting the people of the vigil members in the band. Yep, he's going to note the vigil members, the positions and numbers of the flesh cutter gang members.
You also spot on the street, on the sidewalk, there are several auto carriages parked on both sides of the road, especially outside the club. Very extravagant looking vehicles. They have been parked there by presumably someone else inside. The streets are well lit. Everything can be seen from all sides. There's no heavy smoke or anything obscuring several 100 feet down the street.
After reporting all of this, the carriages, he's gonna say, yeah, it looks like it's gonna be a fairly big event. Now might be a good time to contact those people in the vigil. But if not, I'll get somewhere where I can get a bird's eye view. And Boyle's going to reach into one of his back pockets, click on the stummer that he recently acquired, and he's going to quickly and silently rattle up the fire escapes, get onto the roof of one of the buildings, make note of all the different escape routes that he can take, either jumping to other buildings or just rattling down the way he came up, and is going to take a bird's eye view to overview the whole situation.
Awesome. As you begin to approach, do an athletics test to try to climb up.
Alright. Do I get any bonuses for using the fire escapes?
I will always let you know if there's a bonus.
Got it.
To ask.
In that case, I would like to use my grapple and line to make this a bit easier on myself.
That will definitely attract a lot of attention to you. You're doing this from the main street.
Oh, I see. Okay, in that case, I'll just roll it. 1 degree of success.
You easily skip up the side of the road with a little bit of a jumping pace. You jump on the side of the road, on the wall, grab the bottom of the ladder, pull yourself quickly up, and with your hand strength, you pull yourself up enough to finally place a foot on the side of the wall, push yourself up, and as you look down, no one seems to have paid you any special notice. You begin climbing, finding yourself on the first balcony. You look inside. Luckily, these windows have been barred. The habitation blocks look empty. You look around. There is a very simple-looking metal railing staircase leading up. You begin ascending. As you get higher and higher, you look down, and you will see these foggy lights turn more and more dim, and the color of the city turn more and more yellow with pollution. As you reach the top, you look down and everything is a beautiful yellow-greenish glow. You see the little people down there. You have a perfect vantage point on them. As they move around, you feel you sense at least that you're not being tracked by anyone.
Seeing this, Boyle will pull out the long las that he has sort of like tucked under all his massive baggy clothes, and he's just going to aim down the sights, keep an eye on all those things that he saw earlier, and keep the like metal bits wrapped so that they don't reflect or shine off anything, but just going to keep an eye out, taking a moment to clip off his regular las pack and clip on the hotshot las pack, turning up the intensity of the long las to dangerous levels. I'm in position. Ready when you guys are. I'll give you reports on whatever I see.
Tetricus will drive around the corner, down a ramp, and you will find yourselves in a dark parking garage. Finally parking it near the entrance. Tetricus slowly slides the door open, gets out. You're all alone. You can hear the distant footsteps of someone else far away, but the van seems safely parked here.
Neil quickly looks over to our large friend and says, "Don't worry, Tetricus. You might not be the only one here who's not welcome.
Just call me if something happens. It's probably best I don't join you."
Understood. And thank you.
He nods.
Gives a nod and begins to move along the side, obviously a little bit ahead of, yet still keeping close to the commissary. Franz, ready?
Yes. So, how do we get in there?
Well, first we should probably quickly go over the information we got relayed. Boyle. It seems it's going to be a crowded event. We could either try to stay out of the crowds, or we could possibly use them to our advantage, depending on which path you think has the better odds. Strategist.
Well, if we get into a stand-up fight, we're dead. If we get found out, we're dead. But I think we'd probably have a better chance if we actually try to not shoot anything.
True.
But then it comes down to, and he's just going to actually look at your clothing, his clothing, and the preacher's clothing and go, but unfortunately we seem to stand out somewhat.
Yeah.
This is my type of crowd, a den of decadence, pervaded by both high and low, misguided souls. Don't
Any
worry.
idea then how to, shall we say, socially navigate this space? Any suggestions would be useful.
Well, I can make you look like someone that belongs here, either a respectable VIP or one of the procurers of the many ministrations that these people might need. The choice is yours. My skills are at your disposal.
Considering me and Franz were admittedly previously a part of, shall we say, the establishment, I'm pretty certain we know which would be easier.
And if we are here to purchase something, I suppose, well, we could potentially have a long line of credit.
Sounds good.
If anything, I know how these people like to haggle, so I can give some validation to our... Well, I can be the mouth that speaks to your lords, your lordships.
Sounds good to me, thus far. Alright, let's get the cosmetics out of the way. What suggestions do you have, Father?
Well, I've taken a look to the kind of nobility that so gleefully shouts upon those that are sanctioned by the ecclesiarchy, despite their situation, as he throws a glance at Tetratus. I can imitate their fashion, if need be. And as for the criminals, I can, at a certain point, speak to their simple minds. Now, if you'll allow me, I have just the thing in mind that would suit you well, as he pulls like these, some clothing from the compartment from the van, as well as he unfolds his disguise kit.
Before we do that, what sort of middling? I mean, obviously, in your professional opinion, do you think it would be better to go for a middling sort of way? I'm not 100% sure that my mannerisms would pass off as high nobility.
Maybe so. The issue will be how we will get into these types of abodes. Require an invitation. I could watch some of the nobility that waits outside to enter on a break. I could convince them to allow us inside for their own entertainment and some pleasant conversation. Or I could convince the local bouncers to allow us, who is there to deny a patron, especially if they get a commission.
I suppose depending on how much we can convince, it would allow us to get a bit more far and to be able to claim a bit more clout. Should they not really bother to check, especially for the earlier half of this. That'll give us more of a shot at the actual gamble we're going to be approaching.
Indeed. Let us not waste the young boy efforts up until this point. No, come on, don't be shy. My hands may look rough, but my touch is quite delicate, as he says with a toothy grin.
Right.
As Franz takes a step forward, he says, I somehow doubt that.
Oh, Commissar, please. You're in great hands.
As you walk
We'll
out of
find
the
out.
hangar, you will see a light smog as well as the yellow glow from the local lumen in the streets. Slowly, a auto carriage will pass you by on the street. You're reminded that it is only a few hours until the Chancellor arrives.
Right.
Could I roll this if to disguise ourselves as someone of noble birth and their entourage?
Yeah.
No.
So you will spend, let's say, an hour finding in the garage some spot, probably an old bathroom. You can imagine these white tiles, dirty, cracked, grime and dirt everywhere. Just an abysmal place. Cracked urinals. As you stand there in a half-broken mirror, all alone with a broken-in door. The door has been half cut in half. You're standing there for quite a while, pulling out all your equipment while one of you stands guard. You take turns walking up to Nicholas, who has a disguise kit, presumably open.
Indeed. That would be success with 4 additional.
Sick. Absolutely great. So describe what happens.
Well, I unfurled the cravats. I made sure that their complexion, any chambers, any unfitting complexions are either masked, removed, or necessarily ministered. I ensure that their guns have enough breathing room to be on their personage, while under a very stylish, thick yet stylish clothing that would not bemote someone of great importance, but someone that has money and is more than ready to part with it for some entertainment in these trying times.
And as you're working on Franz, you will brush up against the plasma pistol, and you'll feel a strange feeling of anger suddenly come over you. And if you were to look at Franz, he would actually just give you a nod as he takes a tablet and swallows it.
As you walk out, or as you prepare, you'll hear this huge orchestra of honking and yelling and discussions outside. A very distant noise.
Alright. As I begin to sort.
Neil,
Go ahead.
can you find someone that could... Boyle and Neil, could you find a target that would be interested in company or someone who is willing to give us access in exchange for some alms?
I can begin scanning the area where the three of us already are. Boyle's in a different spot at his vantage point and can try to see from a bit more far away something else that we're not near. Hopefully.
Boyle looks for anyone who's like frantically searching about their person for something or yelling at their servants.
There are several people who fit this description, among others a woman with a large grey wig, very pompous, old wrinkly skin, endless rejuvenate treatments to keep her artificially alive. Whatever brain she has left, she's just spending it screaming at her servants, pointing back and forth, her menials, hunchbacked, looking down at the ground, run back and forth with briefcases.
Boyle will point out this woman. Big lady, old, purple dress. That's your woman.
Sounds perfectly unpleasant. Begins
Oh,
to...
yes. I'm glad I'm up here, not down there.
Yes. Keep your eyes peeled, though. Remember, as we discussed before, an example, the birds. Turns around
Of course.
while hearing Boyle in his ear. He turns around and then begins to relay the information quickly to the other, obviously, comrades near him, telling the preacher that that seems to be their next move.
Well, it's time to pull on my knowledge of my dashing road days. As Nicholas would move amongst the crowd, catching glimpses of the lady talking with her servants, screaming most of the time, as another one who is trying to offer some makeup kits is about to ensure that whatever stain there was on her clothing is removed. She sees the opportunity as the surf is about to fall, and in that instant, Nicholas moves from the crowd and catches the makeup kit as the servant falls onto a puddle and looks at the lady saying, "You must excuse them, my lady. They seem to be awestruck by your beauty."
Do you really think that I am susceptible to flattery? Get up, scum!
No such thing, my lady. I'm merely an admirer that has caught a glimpse of thy beauty.
Where is your station? What do you work with?
I come from the other part of the hive, and my uncle has told me that this is the best place where one can find entertainment and good company.
I've never seen you before.
She walks up and touches your face, and you feel these cold claws, lifeless hand just like tremble across your face as she trails your jaw.
Yes. You would make a fine servant.
Oh, my lady, I would dare say that I'm a good orator. Please allow me to regale you with some tales and my company for the night. If you merely allow us to find a proper place for such a discussion.
I am not interested in discussing anything with you.
But my lady, my heart aches as he dramatically shields his face and puts his mechanical hand over his heart.
She looks entirely blind.
What could I possibly do to capture but a glimpse from you?
She's just staring straight out into the air, and you realize that she's probably almost entirely blind. She just catches the movement of your hand as you move the hand back and forth.
You have entertained me long enough.
Well, of course. I thank you for the time you've offered me. And know that despite this being merely moments, know that this will forever be in my memory as I hold out my hand, my non-augmented hand in front of her to show my respect and for me to touch her, to kiss her hand.
Do a charm test.
Charm.
She's blind, you get a +10.
Thank you. And she's blind, and I'm trying to do so as. Are the other serfs embarrassed?
There's just too many people moving around. No one has spotted what you've been doing yet.
Exquisite. I want to do sleight of hand to get anything that identifies her as a member of high-ranking nobility that I could use to get us into the into the club.
She, immediately as you grasp her hand and pull your face closer, she looks down at you, and you just see this slight smile form on her face.
You're a handsome one, aren't you?
Through crooked teeth, he says. And not a lot of people told me this, but I'm glad that I've caught your eyes, at least for a split second.
I suspect you're one of the local lords, perhaps? Of noble standing, no doubt?
Oh, yes, my lady, I have taken court many a times. Yet no one that would attract the eye of such as you.
She begins brushing your hair, sort of shaking it, like she's in a hair shampoo commercial.
I'm bald, but I appreciate it.
And a bunch of dandruff like falls down on her face. And you see this like wrinkly spittle roll out of the side of her mouth.
You're charming me. Yes. I wouldn't mind being accompanied by a gentleman.
She begins shouting at her servants to hurry up and bring her things.
Then I know just a place, my
on the
lady.
fourth floor.
Is it in the place where we are interested in entering?
Oh yeah, she's standing right by the entrance.
Oh, exquisite. Then I quickly turn. Servants, please come with me. As I turn to the rest of the group.
May I know your name, noble lord?
Ah, yes. Call me Nemo, your ladyship.
And you have a reservation, no doubt?
And I'm afraid to say that my standing is not, my pedigree is not such high as to afford such a thing, he says with pleading
She
eyes.
immediately forms a frown on her face.
What?
What?
It is, I'm afraid, something that is not in my possession, my lady. If you please, if you would be so kind as to show mere mercy for one beneath you.
You just see this disgusted frown on her face.
Get away from me, you cretin!
She begins spitting on the ground.
Of course, my lady. Did I, while wooing her, did I manage to sleight of hand anything of her?
You can try.
Yeah.
You get a
All
plus
right.
20 to this.
Nice.
Possibly heavily demented. You're not sure exactly what you just experienced. Whether she reminded you of someone in the past or what happened. But you managed to rub up against her extravagant dress. Beginning to trace her purse. You slip your hand into it for a brief moment. Rustling about, you feel a hand mirror, a comb, some form of cream. You stick your hands into the cream and it's like all sticky and wet. You immediately pull it back, frantically moving around. Probably you're rubbing everything in there with this cream, like covering it all. She's gonna know. But as you rummage around, you grab like a handful of what seems like punch cards. It's like 3 or 4 punch cards, and you just feel these holes on either side. No keys, just the punch cards.
This will suffice. I will pocket 3 or 4 of them. How many I can gather?
You pull them out just as she kicks you in the knee, and it's quite hard. Her boots are pretty rough. She kicks you and begins spitting and shouting, "Help! Help!"
As I skitter away within the crowd.
Her insanity is blatantly obvious. As the servants run up and begin holding her hands, she begins punching them. They fall down one by one. Eventually she calms down, and they hold her up as she's about to fall, and then they help her slowly enter the building.
As I return to the rest of the crew, I look them in the eye and say, "No chance of me getting the hazard pay for this, do I?"
And then Neil looks over, having attempted to observe that on and off while looking into the other side of the crowd he was attempting to examine. So, did the schmoozer schmooze? Has our priest proven a good thief? Your report seems to be a bit iffy.
I'm sorry to report that where my charms have failed, well, one must improvise, as he produces the 4 tickets, 3 or 4 tickets. Punch cards.
These could be of good use, though. You might have done a good enough job for certain to grant the rest of our efforts. I admit I'll have to thank you for that. However, 23 or 4 tickets. Commissar, how do you think we should allocate our resources?
Well, I would say let's leave our eyes in the sky in case we need a distraction on the way out.
Sounds fine to me, I suppose. Definitely the 3 of us can make it in this way.
Mm-hmm.
I'll report to Boyle soon. However, Preacher.
Yes.
Going forward, do make certain to just let us know about some other methods when it comes to your next performance.
Well, what can I say? The Emperor blesses me with visions. I will endeavor to explain my plans moving forward.
Excellent. He begins to point his dogged snout in the direction of where they're going, has hold of the different tickets, attempts to pass them to the commissar and to the preacher, and is beginning to relay to Neil. Neil begins relaying to Boyle before they get too close to any other company what just happened.
Yeah, I caught the tail end of that. I've been focusing on these ganger fellows, but it looks like you handle it well. Are those punch cards tickets to get in, or are they something else?
They seem to be tickets. I don't know whether or not they'll actually let us in. That's the part we're going to have to work out. Freer.
Yeah, also, if you see us come racing out, drop one and get the hell out yourself.
That's always the plan. Plus, if anything actually bad happens, I assume I'll hear the sound of shots being fired from your combeats.
True. Looks over at the commissar with a little bit of a worry in his head, on his face, but yeah.
Oh yeah, don't worry. If shots get fired, he probably will not. You know, he'll skip town before we get out alive anyway. So don't worry about it.
Right.
I wasn't planning on it, but I won't. Don't worry, I'll be fine.
Oh, sorry, this thing's still on.
Either way.
I mean, you didn't turn it off.
Well, hopefully, team begins to nudge and sort of bring forward a bit more the preacher by his side. Let's make a bit of a cover between us and try it out at the entrance. Basically implying that we could either be entirely separate figures, or we could claim that one or two of us or all three of us are here in some way together.
Out of curiosity, Boyle.
Yeah.
Could you look at the entrance, see if this looks the tickets we've obtained look similar to those that used by previous guests? And Neil,
Yes.
could you use your, as some of your status, let's say, arbiter, I assume, use your deduction or logic to see if there's a pattern to these tickets, and if there's any markings that have been made recently that denote that they have been used before or not.
Gladly. Sounds more than fine to me. One moment, though.
Boyle will peek through his scope towards the entrance, zooming in as far as it can, just to see if he can get a glimpse of the tickets and hopefully read what they're doing, just to see how they're getting in. See if they're looking at a list or if they're handing something over.
Are you walking close, or are you looking at from across the street?
I have an omniscope. I'm pretty sure I can just zoom in to see it, can't I?
Cool. So you're standing from across the street?
I'm on top of the building.
Oh, you're on top of the building.
Yeah, he's our eye in the sky.
He's our bird.
Okay, so that would be you up there then. I placed it wrong.
No, that was correct. Boyle is the dude with the red hair. The investigator is Neil.
Yes, sorry.
Yes, you will begin to zoom in. As one of the guests walks up, you see the guard by the entrance pulls up a large machine. It's about the size of a briefcase. He holds it up, and the person pushes their punch card into the machine, pulls it out. The man looks down, looks to be reading something. He pulls out his own punch card, and then the person walks in the door.
Did the ticket look like the tickets? I described the ticket that I saw being pushed in, and I described the what I saw them do.
Yeah, it looked like a punch card. Similar to the one Tavi took.
Looks like looks like the ticket that you described to me. Only thing is, they put it into a machine before they punch it, so there might be some sort of chip or something in it. I don't know. Would I be able to make any sort of... Boyle's going to attempt to think back to his times when he was doing this kind of work, like trying to like get into places like when he was younger that he probably shouldn't have get. And, does he maybe recall or think of any ways that he could have faked a ticket similar to this, or seen a device like this and heard about it being faked by maybe somebody?
You
in the
can
bar
do
somewhere?
a common lore tech roll or a security minus 10.
All right, security minus 10 or a common lore tech. Am I able to make both or just one or the other?
You have to choose.
In that case, Boyle unfortunately does not recall anything off the top of his head, and he is just going to remain silent.
Right. And that means, after the suggestion of the preacher, I'll attempt a logic roll, perhaps. While I'm looking at the tickets.
Basically, each punch card has an information. Logic allows you to deconstruct the information from it. Like it should say who everything the punch card's data is on.
Do you want to try to figure out the punch cards you're holding, the 3 ones that you took?
Yeah, if it's to identify a specific person, or it's just a general invite without any name, or if it has been used already.
Sounds good. Yeah, you could do a logic test at minus 10.
Yes,
I will assist you.
Yeah. Okay, good. So do I up it a bit?
Neutral logic tests.
So just 0 for modifier.
Yes. An
Gotcha.
assist only gives you a +10. If you had 2 assists, it would be a +20.
Gotcha. Neutral roll, here we go.
Oh my god!
What
are these rolls? What are these rolls?
Motherfucker.
There is one of the only things I am here to do, and I'm gonna try and do it well.
Neil, as you look at these punch cards, they are made new every day. And these ones, yeah, they correspond to something in the briefcase. And if it fits the day's code, they will open. And
we've got a chance.
These ones, you're able, by figuring out the logic of them, you look at them one by one, and you figure out that they correspond to some rising number, skipping a certain row of numbers. So there's an eternal logic to the math. If you were to sit down with this, you could crack today's algorithm and essentially produce as many of these as you would like.
Excellent. All right, preacher, commissar, we've got a good chance. However, we should be careful. Even if we do get in, we know the moment anything is awry, we'll be on at best a time limit. But this will definitely buy us quite a bit of time first. Sound all right?
Sounds good.
Yeah, sounds good. It's better than my plan, which was one of us go in with the other one, and the other one tries to actually sort of get in if it doesn't work with some long line of credit.
Well, if we can work out the math here, we'll be pretty well set up, it seems. And then begins to work towards making these seem legitimate and discussing how they're going to approach the entrance with the other two. Once relaying that to Boyle as well.
Understood.
While he
watch.
While he works on that, Nicholas will put a glow stick in his mouth, and a lighter, a Zippo lighter with a skull being held by the Aquila will light his glow stick as he goes to the side of the van and smokes it, requesting not to be bothered in the next few minutes.
You hear a fight breaking out on the street next to you, an auto carriage being stopped by some kind of row of fanatics. A planetary guard will walk up and begin threatening them, pushing them off the street. There's a bunch of honking. Looking at the side of the street, there are nobles walking next to you, highborn. Some of them seem quite friendly to you. No sign of the Councillor yet. He was supposed to be here pretty soon.
How's those data chips coming along? We're getting low on time.
So I worked out the math, and I know how we can get him through this. Yet then, as we approach, I again just want to check one more time. What covers are we going to be using? Do we have any names, any general categories we're going to try and tell them we're involved in if they ask us about positions? Do one of us work for the other? Do both of us work for one of the others?
I say we just have you and the guard pose as, well, bodyguards, and we make the priest be a relatively important administrative drone.
Either that, or we have the commissar pose as a military figure, and we somehow are connected to that yet. It seems at the moment, from Boyle's suggestion, which could work, that, Commissar, you might be coming with me to join the Arbites. With a little bit of a sarcastic grin and sly look on his face.
Which of you guys can speak High Gothic?
I can.
Good.
Oh, perfect then. There'll be no issues.
Just because I said I can speak it doesn't mean that I can speak it like a noble.
Oh, have you not partaken in your lectures at the monastery, Professor?
Well, as of lately, I have been neglectful of my studies.
You know that poetry is a vital instrument as well as calligraphy for someone of your station, but I do understand that such necessities are far removed from the actual situation of the field. Luckily for the group, and unluckily for me, I have to say that I had quite the experience preaching in High Gothic.
Excellent, then. We can work out what we're going to say together and when we have time beforehand. Yet for now, me and the Commissar will get on both your flanks, Father. Good luck with the chat as we begin to approach the entrance now, and we are going to be in front of someone soon.
And Franz is going to hand the... He's going to sort of stop and say, and you also might want to take this, and hands him a data slate. Whenever you turn it on, you will see that there is a substantial line of credit.
This will work. Hands it then over to the preacher. Don't spend it all in one place.
That's because if they look hard enough, it technically probably doesn't exist.
Things are as valuable as one puts purpose on them. And I have a way of convincing people that they could sell their left shoe for a pebble.
As long as they're not wearing purple skirts and old and, well, slightly ridiculous hair.
Yes, I'm not the dashing rogue I used to be, as he says with a melancholic sigh, theatrical in nature.
Well,
Right.
She was blind and stupid, so can hardly blame her for not recognizing the great man you surely are.
And hopefully not picking up on the dandruff she swiped down from your head.
Anyway, gentlemen,
Here we go.
let's see if we can do this.
Do you have the ticket ready with the correct code?
We should now. And we have the credit set up, and we're going to be trusting for the moment our preacher with it.
Depending whether or not this is a thing that is an option or not. We will play by ear either way.
Yeah.
While
worst case scenario is we could also say that it is a front for the militarum.
while me and you can come up with various tricks while coordinating with the preacher, us and the commissar can be the eyes and ears. It seems, in addition to the commissar obviously being, so to say, the muscle, we're going to have to count on the preacher as the mouthpiece of our outfit for now.
As you
Luckily,
approach,
seems well spoken.
the man in front of you is lit up by a singular lumen, lighting down into his face, giving him a deep red hue. As he steps into the light when you approach, all the other highborn around you, looking over to see who is brave enough to walk towards the entrance. As you turn the corner, you feel all of their eyes on you. The man standing under the light will look at you. He has a single monocle, slicked back, wet hair, a black vest, and black pants. He stands forward, grabbing the device, looks a little confused for a second, and waits for you to approach.
I walk with purpose and with authority as I approach the guard. I stop a feet in front of him as I pull the ticket from underneath my ornate vest. As I say, I'm expected in High Gothic.
Excuse me, my lord. I didn't recognize you. May I have your name?
I presume he has set it up ahead of time while making the punch card and say, young noble astute Nemo.
He looks onto the monitor. Do a charm test.
Is he from the underworld?
Criminal underworld? No.
Okay, thank God. Just that would give me a negative modifier. Oof, success with 2.
He looks down and just glances down at the screen. There is no way he had time to read anything of importance on the screen. He immediately looks back up with a smile. Yes, sir, of course. He raises this black device, rectangular. Again, there are 2 open slots, one to the left and one to the right. You've seen people randomly put them into either hole so far.
I will put them in the hole that has been reported by Boyle previously, the right one, as I place it there, and as the device takes a bit longer than Boyle explains, a few seconds longer, and a sweat begins to form at his eyebrow. Well, as he says underneath his underneath his beard, Neil, I pray to the Emperor, you know your craft.
The man looks up slowly, his singular monocle tightening around his face. He raises an eyebrow, smiling slightly, and you feel this inner monologue as if he's about to figure you out. You both look down. Immediately you hear a sound. He looks down as the punch card gets kicked back out again.
Oh, everything is in order. Yes, please.
As his tense face slightly relaxes and pretends to transform into that of beguile, saying, "Of course there is," as he retracts the punch card.
Of course it is. Of course. He bows deeply, like comically deep, like he bows to your belt buckle.
Cover your nose just to
I
hit the toe.
apologize for it. I apologize.
I just had my swords with me now.
Presumably, after the next punch cards get checked, you all open the door. A large open dual door of dark wood. As you open them, you're in a beautiful lobby. Brushed stone tiles, a reception desk, huge with bright white lumen on either side, and an entrance with these white glittering pearls sort of adorning the circle around the entrance. Bright lights inside. You can hear slight music as well as a dim noise of the talking inside. You see a man with a cane resting up to next to the reception. He looks at you as you enter. He looks back to the desk. There are stairs leading up to the left.
As we go through the entrance, I go, Nicholas draws next to Neil and says, I must say you're an artisan of your craft. Had me worried there for a second, though.
It's one of the only things I do, especially nowadays.
Doing what is necessary. Well, I shall go mingle with the crowd. I believe
The
you have...
receptionist looks to you and you look up in the ceiling. There are picture recorders. Like, you can see the picture recorder just pointing at the wall, and then it turns on, starts to hover down, and looks at you specifically. You can see the little wheel inside start to spin as if it's zooming in on you.
Let's not,
Right.
You're definitely being watched.
let's not attract attention and move with a purpose, shall we?
Alright, apparently, high noble Nemo. Tell us out. Understood, obviously, or are we not quite clear with the recent indicator we just saw?
Are you moving in through the crystals?
Following the flow of traffic.
Where the music is? Okay.
Yep.
As
I would
you,
go to... Yeah.
As you walk through the door, you will see a large open space. People gathered around. This seems to be a social place. It's mostly populated by highborn, but you see on the far edge, all the way to the left, there's like a few steps up some stairs, and then there's a slight like fence, and up in that fenced area, like a VIP area, you see very clearly these same gangers with scars on their face, standing there with guns drawn. Two people sitting there with glow sticks talking. There is a bar, there is a dance area, as well as several tables of people sitting and relaxing.
Despite being somewhere ever so ultimately alien, looks over at the group we had spotted before. Seems there's a bit of a familiar sight. Looking over at the commissar.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they definitely seem to own this area. Anyway, we should hang back, but not in such a way that it looks as though we're hanging back. Enough distance to allow the highborn to do his thing, but still have us as backup.
Right.
And also maybe look for a way out.
We keep our eyes on the preacher. He gets his dialogue with the others. Hopefully.
Indeed. Neil, Commissar, coordinate with Boyle outside. Make sure he's got a good view of the VIP section. I have a feeling that that's where we're gonna bet the target.
Neil, you're the one outside, right?
Boyle is outside.
No, I'm outside.
Yeah. Right. I'm with both of us are taller than the preacher and being sort of guards for the preacher.
Yeah.
But Neil is the one, sorry, Neil. But yet Boyle is the one with the sniper up on the roof.
Okay, Boyle, you don't see anyone right now. But Neil, you definitely
Boyle's
see this.
going to attempt to maneuver himself into a place with windows so that he can hopefully see in. And if not, then he's just going to click on his prey sense so that he'll be able to see the heat signatures. Even though that probably won't really help against such a crowd of people.
Gotcha, yeah. You turn on the prey sense. You're not sure who is who, but you can see some shades moving around for sure. The person should have been here by now. You try to follow the street to see if anyone's arriving. Egnon the Cambri has not arrived yet.
I'm gonna look for any back entrances or servants areas where the servants would come in, and because Boyle suspects that if he arrives with a big crowd, that'll be easy to spot. But if he doesn't, he'll be going in through one of those entrances. So he's gonna go try to look for something like that.
Are you walking down from the building?
He'll first look to see if he can see it from the top of the building. But if he can't, then he'll slip into one of the back alleyways. Using his cat ball and
you cannot see any back end.
Boyle will walk to the commissar. See if you can find any servants' entrances or anything like that. That'll probably be if this man is really as subtle as he should be. Then that's how he'll enter the building. Either that, or it'll be easy to spot him.
Or alternatively, we could just ask.
I can get some information from the party people here. They also like to brag about how this is not their first time, and they will pretty much give on an open platter whatever information they want just to pull a one-up on you.
Always remember, these people can be very insecure or very vain.
That'll be a boon for us in this situation.
Their negligence can be our benefit.
Alright, well, I don't see anyone coming, so I'm probably gonna get down from here and see if I can find a better vantage point.
Sounds good.
Just tell us when you're there.
Make certain to the shadows, though, when you find a better vantage.
Of course, I'm not planning on walking on the streets. That's what the back alleys are for.
Yes, it's just now being in here. There's a lot of lights.
Right.
Just where you want to go.
Boyle's going to, after kind of climbing down, if he has to use the fire escape again, he'll probably click on the stummer for a while, just so that he doesn't make any noise clattering around. Clicking it off once he hits the bottom again. Boyle will go ahead and look around, once again using the back alleys to circle the building, avoiding any of the gangers if possible, and he's going to try to look for a servant's entrance. And if he can't find that, then he'll just find a vantage point either in the alleys or above them to be able to look through a window and see what's happening inside.
There is a balcony on the second floor. As you walk around the side of the stairs, looking down at the balcony, you can see some of the servants standing there smoking glow sticks. They're standing outside of a very simple wooden door. It's obviously leading to wherever they stay. The entrance underneath them, you're not sure what it is, but it might lead to the place where the servants come and go. It is a single metal door, guarded by two people.
Got it. These guards, do they look like the security of the building, or like the security of the hive?
It seems like guards guarding the building.
All right. Boyle will find a place to hide to keep that door in view, and he's just going to Foxton. I think I might have found it, but I'll keep watch just to check to see if anyone comes and goes.
Excellent.
And Boyle's going to try to, keep himself as well hidden as possible while still being able to see the door.
Everyone else, keep an eye out for interesting things. I'll go make myself known to the locals.
Alrighty. Do an inquiry test at -20.
Is this a nobility?
Highborn, yes.
Yes. Nice.
Is there any way I can count via the inquiry helping him as I try to keep him in my sights from a bit far away?
Yeah, like picking off targets that would be easily manipulated or part of.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you try to seek out people who are more susceptible.
Excellent.
Sure.
Does that affect the modifier slightly or no?
I will always let you know what the modifier is.
Okay, so,
Thank you.
what was the modifier on the inquiry? Again?
-20.
Success with 2 additional.
Sick. You walk around and acquaintance yourself with the people around you and try to strike up a conversation. What kind of topics do you bring up?
The nature of this club. Is this your first time? No, it isn't. Well, are there anything that a proper noble can spend money? Is there any entertainment in this club other than the drinks, stuff like that?
You get acquainted with a few people. There is a game going on in the middle of the club. Some form of gambling. You look over and try to familiarize with yourself with the game. Chatting them up, hearing about some of their positions. These are very wealthy, important officials in the city. So you stand there for a while just talking. They seem to get used to your company and like you a lot. You stand there just looking at them, taking down drink after drink. As you look over your shoulder, you will see your comrades just occasionally throwing a glance in your direction. No one seems to know who the VIP are or want to talk about them.
But who owns such a fine establishment?
The owner is not known by anyone here.
I presume they have theories and throw some names as if pretending not to be outside of the known, but...
This is more like an ancient institution that's just been here forever. They don't know if it's owned by the city or by anyone private.
Mm. I'll spend some more time entertaining these fellows. Check the flow of people, see if there are some that divert from the crowd.
Sounds fine to me. I think I can spot a few. I imagine the info you're hearing thus far isn't too concrete, though.
No, they're all buffoons here to waste their money. Most of them aren't even in the know.
Then they're truly proper, Mosh. I'll begin taking my look around right now. Inform the commissar, though. Here we go.
And at this moment, you will see 2 large cars driving down the street. One is a giant van. Outside, you will see a giant van with these metal railings on either side of the roof. They are studded as to impale anyone who would try to jump onto it. It's a semi-militarized truck, armored. Black tinted windows, followed by a very, very nice auto carriage. Deep red, armored walls, armored windows, as it drives up to the main entrance. Both cars stop in the middle of the street, stopping the traffic. The traffic has been blocked quite far back. There's only 2 other cars now in the street. Traffic immediately stops around the building, and as you look around, you can see the doors open to the van, and people begin to spill out. 6, 7 heavily armored guards run out of the van and immediately position themselves on either side of the street. People begin protesting, and you see these guards just point weapons at them. These are clearly militarily trained men. They're not dressed in the old brood Planetary Defense Forces uniforms. But you know that the Planetary Defense Forces are elite soldiers, and these men move very tactically, and they are not individual. As they begin to clear the streets, 3 more people will exit the van. Then the doors of the large car will open. 2 more people walk up to the entrance.
Right.
Sounds like it's go time.
Yep. Trying to report to the commissar and to the preacher. Nice ride. Can make a statement very quick. Vehicles that blatantly have military capability, and it seems, despite the scene we're in, a lot more of the commissar's ilk than mine. These are definitely not mere arbitis.
Wrong. Boyle, how's
Well-
the situation looking from outside?
That's Boyle who sees all of this.
Ah,
Okay, Neil. Well, if they're coming inside, if I were you, I would make your way away from those gangers with the guns.
True.
I'm not Neil again. And I'm
I
not
thought it
really
was-
near.
No, I thought
Oh,
Neil was the one inside.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, you're talking to Neil. My
Yeah.
bad. But I do want to report that it appears that some very important people are making their way in, and well, they're not using the servants' quarter. So be prepared because they'll be coming in shortly.
That must be the guards I saw her for. Boys, we're gonna be soon on our way to it.
You have not
Check-
seen them at all. You're in the club, right?
Oh, right, shit. I was supposed to be looking, after speaking with the preacher, at some of the other company and seeing if I found anyone suspect in the party.
Outside?
Oh.
Are you out on the street?
No, I'm in the party with them. He was getting not really many answers, so he asked me to go look for any other suspicious rich people.
No, there is no windows there, so you're not seeing the street.
Gotcha, sorry.
so everything is dictated to us by Boyle. Got it.
Gotcha.
So get away from the gangers because they're the people with the guns, and these guys are going to be keeping an eye on them, and you don't want to get made.
Right.
So
Oh.
I suggest we go and we find ourselves a nice secluded corner and wait for the festivities to kick off.
Indeed. Let's see where the VIP ends up being. I'll try to figure out a way to the VIP room, although by myself. I'm not sure how successful I may be.
I tried to regroup after seeing if there was any indicators we could find from other crowds in the room. I began to ask about what Boyle may have seen and see how much the commissar has been told.
Just what you've been told.
Gotcha.
So, where does the vehicle seem to go?
The vehicle? Oh, it looks to be heading towards the main entrance. I can't really see from this angle. Boyle's gonna see if he can get a look at who's exiting the vehicle without getting out of his little hiding place, or maybe, well, like he'll move from his hiding place, but we'll try to make sure he can see it without exposing himself too much.
Yeah. Well, from what you're telling us, we will most likely make our exfil through the servants' entrance.
Awesome. In the main lobby, if you sort of glimpse out from the club, you will see a man with heavy augmentations, a large body armor under a coat. Walks into the reception, talks to someone, and immediately walks up the stairs, followed by 8 guards.
Hey, Neil.
I describe what happens as it happens.
Hey, Neil. Try to get close to the VIP while he's here. See what he's talking about.
I've got a chance to. I'll try to make the move in, but we're going to need the Commissar to keep eyes on me and keep Boyle updated. We are clearly outnumbered. Expected it, but didn't expect a military man.
Yes, I'll also make sure to keep you covered. As I say, this game is a bit too rich for my blood. Thank you for the game, gentlemen.
Indeed. Boyle, Neil, combeads open. Do you know battle cantrip?
No, I do not.
Then close it.
Boyle will click
receive only.
Boyle will click off his speaking turn.
I begin maneuvering a bit ahead of where the preacher is as he makes his way perhaps nearer to the Commissar, and I'm trying to see if there's any openings to walk towards our VIP without bumping into too many of the guards, or if we're in a much tighter situation than we thought.
So you want to walk up the stairs?
Yes, just very gradually. I'm keeping a distance from them, but we've swapped it so now instead of me and the Commissar hanging back, the preacher's back with the Commissar and I'm going a little bit forward, trying to find any sort of opening for us in any way.
As you walk up, you see the guards step into a huge hallway, and then they knock on the door, open the door, and they begin walking inside. They're in some of the private habitations.
Right.
The door closes behind them.
And the entire time the VIP is surrounded by them, ahead of them, behind them, or...
Yeah, he's ahead of them.
Alright. It seems we're going to have to find a way to get farther into the building than we already are. They've just made their way into some sort of room, and obviously they have surrounded their lawyer the entire time. I relate to the others.
Do you happen to see a balcony?
Not quite yet. If there is one, it may be on the other side, rather than where we are presently.
Okay, Boyle, do you think you could actually get round? Maybe sort of zoom in and lip read?
He's away, getting food.
Before he's going to be able to respond, I think we need to try and find a bit more information about our side of things. Then, hopefully, if he's still in good hiding, we can find out a bit more about what's ahead. Without causing too much of a ruckus or a scene, we need to find out what that door is for, and how exactly we can have a reason to be there. Preacher, any ideas on who to mingle with, maybe?
Tar vi?
Well,
Tavia stepped away. We're gonna wait for him to return.
Oh, gotcha. Right, sorry, Commissar. Any idea of some weak points if we have to try and just push our way in at all?
no. If we try to push our way in, we're dead.
Right. Right now, our
They essentially they completely outgun us. However, if they are having a meeting, potentially some sort of concierge service. That
We
is
could
if
try-
they don't already have it, at which point then we've just busted ourselves.
True. We're beginning to hit a time limit soon. We're not there yet, but soon we're going to have to try and find a way to slink in, and we might have to temporarily expose ourselves once we get to the actual target's proximity. I know that'll be basically with Boyle afar and us primarily up close, and we need to make certain that the preacher can get a hold of what he needs to get a hold of and make his way out. I'm wondering how we're going to use our present equipment, though, and resources to do this.
Boyle, down the streets, you look down into this yellow hue of the lumen and the cars surrounding the building. There are now 4 guards standing on either side of the street. They're blocking the street from traffic, essentially, in the middle of the road. The Vigilites seem to be doing nothing. They're not intervening, they're not helping. As you look back and forth, the street begins to empty. People just look whenever they approach the building. They just look at each other, throw their hands out, and sort of in what is happening here. And then the street around the building is quite empty at this moment.
Let's see. Boyle's going to report all this. They're like blocking off traffic, and that they're sort of like tightening the noose, as to speak. Apologizing to Franz for cutting in on his conversation. It doesn't look good, and I'd say that I think it would be best if you could try to record any conversation that happens. If you could tell me what floor they're going to, I could probably see if I can find a window. But considering what I've seen so far, it doesn't look like they have a lot of them. Worst case scenario. Sorry?
No, please.
I'm gonna
go
say
on.
time is ticking in real time now. They're in the room with whoever else is with, and I'm gonna count in real time now. How long the meeting
Okay. I say, this is just my suggestion, I say we get Boyle, we see whether or not we can actually sort of see what's happening in there. If not, then we have to come across the possibility that they have created a bottleneck. If some of us are able to kidnap him, that may keep us alive long enough to get some information which we can then relay on. But the vast majority of us aren't making it out alive. But hopefully the information can be used by the next team.
And you're talking about this in the lobby, I assume, or in the club?
This is
Yes.
being spoken about very hushed tones, what he called, in a
Comms.
secluded corner.
So vocalizing?
In the what?
No,
Where?
what he called, in the club,
Okay.
head is down, head is down.
Yeah, just needed to know where you are. Okay.
Yep.
Got it.
I'll, very well, gentlemen. I'll try to make my way inside. Inside that room.
Boyle actually will click on his prey sense so that he can see through the walls, and he's going to look in the room and see if he can scope
Fortunately
out,
for you,
how-
the meeting is taking place adjacent to your building. You will see 3 men sitting on chairs next to the balcony. The windows have been covered completely. There's a man walking back and forth, gesturing intensely, pointing up, back and forth. The man sitting down seems very relaxed, seems like he's bringing his hand to his mouth as if he's smoking while talking.
Boyle is going
As he walks
to,
back and forth, he points back and forth, and they seem to be negotiating. Both of them gesturing.
Boyle is going to get into a position where he can line up his long lance with the window, pulling back as far as he can into the darkness. He's going to aim down his sights through the, is the window just barricaded, or is it like just with curtains drawn over it so I can't see?
Black curtains.
Okay, he's going to aim his long lance through the window, fully overcharged, taking a full aim at the guy who's just sitting there and not gesticulating.
Mm-hmm.
And he says, I have a shot. There's one standing, one sitting. I'm assuming that the sitting guy, who's not panicked, is a bigger threat. I will take the shot if that man moves, or if you guys do something that will, compromise everything.
We don't want to snatch the person if there are no charges against them. We might jeopardize the investigation moving forward, but we need ears in that room one way or another.
Well, I had an auger servo slow, which might have helped with that, but unfortunately it was stopped. So,
Right.
Wow. What a moment to bring it up. That's awesome. You get an inspiration point.
No, I thank you. I'll need it.
I was going to say, we may all need it.
The
At which
chase.
point, you're to hell with it. Franz has, what he called, stumped off towards the bar. On the way past, has picked up a silver tray.
No one notices. Bar's full. You get it.
Friends, don't do anything reckless. We don't want to engage in this if it's not worth our time.
Even if the odds are against most of staying out of it, we still want to try and make certain we do.
We just
If
need.
If there's any... Go ahead, sorry.
We just need just cause to apprehend him. We can just trap someone who might be innocent, and that would attract attention over our whole operation.
He's buying mutants. By any stretch of the imagination, that is definitely illegal.
If it comes to being able to claim we're arresting him, I can handle it. If it comes to kidnapping him, me, Boyle, or the preacher can do that. The issue is...
The man standing has now sat down in the chair. They seem to be leaning onto the table, writing something.
He's writing something, probably a verbally binding agreement. If you can, I'll tell you when he stops. If you can get that, either if he stops or when he walks out, grab it from his pocket, we may have something without having to kill ourselves.
Franz has now appeared back with a silver tray full of the most expensive drinks that you can actually sort of see and say, I'm going to try something. If it works, fantastic. If not, it's been a blast.
If it doesn't,
Roll
sure,
me
tell me who's who.
Never mind. Go ahead.
Neil, can you get an vantage point to figure out what they're doing right now?
I've been waiting to for a while. They went behind the door, though. I'm going to have to try and find out what's in the area, have an excuse for being there, and try to take a peek.
Well, if you could wrap the door for me, I'm delivering drinks to them.
I'm going to say you make it up the stairs all the way up to the lobby. You're now looking down a long lobby. There are white walls, deep brown doors, and a red carpet going all the way down to the end.
Is there any way I can do some sort of test or check to relay if there's... to try and see if there's any further information or a good view for me to take of anyone?
Just always, when you wonder what you can do, just tell me what your character is wondering or what kind of information he wants or what he's doing. And I will tell you if there's a check.
He's wondering if there's anything around the area as he approaches the door that could be of use for trying to get through, trying to be able to see what's on the other side.
Got it. Cool.
Oh, gotcha.
There's a ventilation shaft. Further back, there's basically like a janitor's door with a cupboard and all kinds of stuff like that. You will probably find all kinds of equipment in that room.
He tries to relate to the
There's also
Gotcha.
a fire extinguisher.
Gotcha. That sounds interesting, actually. He tries to relate to the others. He's going to be going a bit farther in. He thinks he's found some possible options, and tries to make certain that there's not too many eyes on him as he proceeds.
At this moment, both of the people get up from their chairs. They walk over, shake hands, and the one who stood up begins to walk to the door.
They have a deal. Someone's walking out. I'm gonna lose the shot.
I believe I found some other ways in, but it would take time for us to get there. All right.
All right. There's one person still in the room. If they're out of my sight before you get here, I'm shooting him.
Gotcha. I'm going to try and proceed with whatever is hopefully the safest way of me doing so. I can get started now. Tell Franz. Here I go.
At which point
I
he'll have
relay
reached
to
the
Franz.
door. He'll have reached the door and go. Says, what do you call it, with the tray in one hand, and we'll stop.
All kinds of cutlery is shaking. The trolley is like making all kinds of clinking sound as you roll it slowly down with squeaky wheels down the hallway. You can all hear this through the Voxcaster in your earbuds. You can hear this squeaking of this wheel as Franz is rolling it down the hall. And this quite muscular, large man is rolling this very small trolley full of food. Drinks, rather. He's just holding the door for now, just talking over his shoulder, turning around.
Well, I'm making way to check out some of the equipment and then check out the vent. So while no one sees me and I find out what's there, I know that the commissar would probably be seeing what's going on.
The room
with
has all
this.
kinds of equipment, repair kits, buckets, cupboards, all kinds of washing equipment.
I want to think of...
Maintain his full aim against the person who is not just about to leave.
Got it. You're aiming at the guy who's sitting down.
And you'll just hear, look, listen, I was just told to deliver this. I just work here. I'm not told anything.
You're opening the door at this point?
No, you can actually hear this at the top of his voice. You know, it's as though he's a rather pissed off. This isn't my job.
Got it. Okay. You're saying that outside the door?
Yeah.
Nice.
Excellent.
You know, it basically sounds as though it's a speech that he knows he's about to get crap from people in the room, so he's rehearsing a speech. They actually sort of try to deflect.
Door opens. The man who's standing up steps outside. Rather, two of his guards walk out first. They immediately spot you. One of them with his mask on.
Step away. Step away from the door.
I was told to deliver this to this room.
Move along.
He pulls out a gun from his vest, begins pulling it out.
Okay. Look, listen. I just work here. I'm just doing as I'm told. I'll just.
As he begins to pull it out, you hear a voice going, "That will not be necessary. Excuse us. You're doing a fine job." An old man with a slight grey stubble, heavy rejuvenate treatments, a metal, sort of a metal sheet over his forehead and down his neck, walks out. He has a very friendly smile. He smiles to you. Please, continue your job. Don't mind us.
Many thanks, my lord.
We were leaving anyway. He smiles, puts something in his inner pocket of his vest, and gently walks past the trolley.
As he is walking past the trolley, Nicholas will go from the same side and say, "Oh, excuse me," as he with his normal hand picks one of the glasses, and with the mechanical one bending in unnatural ways, will try to see if he can, using his blade and strap time, see if he can cut that side of his vest and grab the thing he had inside.
I'm sorry I have to stop the action, but you tell me again. You want to cut it open with a...
blade and strap times. Basically, the fingers split open, and there are these small tentacle-like metal dendrites that can be used to grab small delicate things and make small incisions.
Can you inform me about what this is, because I'm not familiar with it?
Strike times are used for basically for analyzing pages, turning pages, and documents that are very delicate. Blade times are like small tentacles that just have like they're kind of like a weapon, but they don't really do that.
I didn't know they operate like that.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's like a...
Yeah, it's Dark Heresy 2nd edition.
Can we look this up? Can you tell me the details of this item? Can you post it in the chat?
Right away.
I'm just curious about what this is. If it was.
It sounds like the equivalent of. Have you ever seen whenever they're working with old manuscripts, and it's basically like a really, really flat knife.
Mm-hmm.
So it is like a really flat knife, and it's used to actually sort of just very gently pull it back.
Okay. Well, you can take a look at it. See if it fits. I'm just trying to determine the modifier for this.
You stay with that.
Yes, of course.
Let me know when you find it.
I'm looking at cybernetics, and I think I found them.
Nice. Sick.
Right.
So what are you using to cut the vest?
A small, very small, like razor that is within one of these small things. To hopefully the clothing is thin enough to cut through it and sneakily grab the parchment from it. From inside his from inside his vest where he placed it.
I'm gonna first give you a tech use test, flat.
I don't have that juice.
Well, it's a lore test. If you have any linguistics to simulate your experience with this tool.
Linguistics, yes. From I've manned many parchments in the Ecclesiarchis, so which are written in High Gothic. Would that work?
Yeah. You can do a High Gothic test, normal High Gothic. How you operate, how delicately you operate it, basically.
Yeah. I can do a sleight of hand for how delicately it is done.
That comes later. Do that too. All right. Do a sleight of hand at.
Oh God.
At -50.
Can I get an assist from Aaron due to his distraction?
I can give you an amazing
yep.
assist. That is a distraction if you'd like.
No, it's okay. Nothing too loud.
I don't think we're there yet. Yeah, I'll assist.
Alright.
So as he's doing this, Franz will catch it out of the corner of his eye and will start clattering, what do you call it, glass and things like that, looking as though he's trying to rearrange it so that just enough noise to actually sort of draw someone's attention ever so slightly.
And
I will give you the assist.
I will also use a faith point for a +10.
Mm-hmm. Yep, that works.
I don't really know why I didn't get a +20 from it. Still. So
I
that
think I'm
is-
going to be using my inspiration to let you reroll that.
No, I have my own inspiration, which I'll use to reroll this.
If you fail, he will notice it.
Right.
Come on, baby. Let's
Oh my
fucking
god!
go! 69! 69!
Very nice. Thank God. Emperor. I mean,
The unofficial critical success!
Ultimate critical.
that coming from behind.
So
You
as
win the game.
So as the Straptines made the incision and they managed to catch one of those embroideries that are tougher, it pinches the cloak and the person begins to look in the direction of Nicholas. Franz shakes the cart, attracting more attention and making Nicholas move forward to catch one of the glasses that he was pretending to grab. And as he does, the Straptines manage to slit quickly inside. As they grab the parchment, Nicholas gives him a winch to Franz.
This is an older man. I'm gonna say you actually just slip in to the side of, or whatever you said actually. You slowly slide out this very thin piece of parchment out of the hole, down. You don't pull it straight out so anyone can see it. You just pull it down the side of his vest, and you see this parchment, thin parchment, just rub down the side of his vest. You slowly stroke it as if it's stroking him, and then comes down to the tray. On top of the tray, on top of the drinks, the paper begins flapping over the drinks, and you just slowly pull it towards you, and then right as he turns around, you quickly pull it down the side of the tray and step aside, and they will begin walking around it.
Apologies, sir. As I step aside with both hands up.
He keeps smiling, looking at you, and walks past you. The guards hurry him along and run over to the elevator. You see them walk in the elevator, and then I'm going to roll to see if they notice.
Oh, fuck.
Nope. They're done. They rolled terribly. They're gonna walk down to the lobby and open the door. You see them all come out to the street, and they walk into the vans, drive off. All of the guards leaving with them.
Gentlemen, I believe this night is coming to a close as he takes one of his, tissues and wipes off the heavy sweat that has formed.
There are only 3 people left in the room of the suite now, and you can see one of them going into the lobby, or the hallway that you're standing in.
Last man's on the move.
He is all cut up in his face. He's one of the gangers.
We could
Last chance. Do I have permission to shoot before he walks out?
keep an eye on him. We could snatch and grab him, gentlemen. He was in the
Alright.
room.
Well, why not push our luck?
Over the comms, you hear Neil, who, before getting into the ventilation, that could hopefully lead to the room and hopefully also an exit, Notes that he wants to make a quick search of anything practical in front of him, anything that would be good for repairing or advantageously breaking anything, any chemicals from the washing stuff he could use that could incapacitate anyone, and what's of good use for anyone. When asking them, when asking them what they think they may need for him to grab.
Whatever makes him jitter, the less sense to him for help. I'm not as young as I used to be. Once I catch him, he ain't leaving my grasp.
I might be able to help with that, but he needs to step outside first, and I'd have to put my little toy away, or maybe shoot him in the leg.
Understood.
Domicile. Boyle, any ideas? I list off what chemicals are in the area and what repair equipment's in the area. If we can make any use of this.
That's all cleaning supplies. You can't clean supplies, man, unconscious.
Yeah, you can.
Well, technically you can.
Yeah. Commissar knows where I'm coming from here.
Right, well, that's not exactly... the streets are clearing up, so I'll see what I can do.
Either way, I will proceed to shadow him and wait for your call.
True. I have, he's moved out of the room, so I'm not able to shoot him anymore, but I'll keep an eye on it.
Oh, the guy sitting there is still there. There's still two people. I need to be clearer. There are still two people in the room, one sitting, one standing. There's another one in the hallway.
Looks like there's still two in the room. And I don't think the person in front is in charge. If you can still make it in with that cover you got, we might be able to get an idea of who's on the other side of this little operation.
Sure, but I hope that you're both of you will be on Overwatch and Commissar ready to rumble.
The guy the guy who's standing up walks over to the window, pulls the curtains aside. Light shining into the room. You see deep red carpets. You see his black vest and heavy armor as he looks out the window. He leans over and opens the window, drawing a deep breath. Looking down at the street.
Window's open. I have the best shot I'll ever got.
Do we think he's the one in charge?
He's where I look to I quickly, not taking my gun off him, I quickly flick my eyes to the other person in the room. Are they visible currently?
No, he's sitting with his head. You just see the back of his head.
There's just another guy sitting. I can only see the back of their head, but this person looks very important. They got heavy armor on. I described their equipment. Is the person who I was aiming at this whole time the one currently opening the window, or is that a different person?
No, it's a different guy.
Oh, perfect. I'm keeping my aim on the guy with the guy sitting down. Then looks like one of his guards opened the window. I can see the back of his head. I think the dude sitting down is probably the one in charge, and his bodyguards. One's outside, but they probably wouldn't expect it right now.
What's the street level like? Is it clear?
It's crowding up. After Big Shot left, the guards left with him, so it looks like they're starting to get a bit more populous now. If you were to run for it, you'd have a clear vantage point, and I'd like to, if possible, look for a very clear way that they could run if they were to go out of the jump from the window, basically, to get a clear escape route for them if they need it.
Yeah. You find that.
I described the quickest route that I think would be able to get to the back alleys or to the car. That's your way out if you need it.
Neil, is there any recording equipment in that room you're in?
That's what I want to know. Really quickly. Apologies, Mortem. When you mentioned the items that were in here, I just wanted to make certain that I checked them and found anything of any use we could combine or use in some way before I proceeded. But I do know Neil would have proceeded by now, so Is it possible to just say what he would have found if checking it out and decide what would have been worth grabbing or not?
You can always make up anything you want and never need to ask me about mundane things that is not mission critical.
Alright. Well, that's what I mean, is this could be mission critical. I'm trying to see... You
By
said
mission
repair...
critical, I mean I automatically get the key that we're looking for, or I automatically captured, without saying or doing anything, the vital NPC.
Alright,
If it is less of importance than that, you can make it all up. This is a cooperative role-playing game.
Understood then. Thank you. Just wanted to know that I'm certain. Alright then, he would have already been proceeding and would be in the vents approaching the destination that the others are speaking about, and trying to get some eyes on it. However, before going in there, he would have looked at the repair kits and some of the cleaning supplies, tried to find out if there was anything, any of the tools he could make use of that would help break through where they need to get through, and if he could find a way to get the cleaning supplies to be some sort of throwable that could temporarily make sick or ill anyone they run into.
Just say what you do, and whatever the actual outcome is, I will say. Just say what you do. I walk into the room, I mix the cleaning detergent to try to make a poison. I put it into a bottle, I put it into a cap. I think this will work as a poison, for instance.
Yes. Alright, fine. I do that, and I grab one of the tool kits just in case that might be useful going forward to break anything we need to get into, and I already have been proceeding down the vent and beginning to get sights, hopefully, on what they're speaking about in that room.
Awesome.
Right. As far as I know presently, got something I can pop if we need it. That would probably poison or knock out, at bare minimum, one of the guards. I don't know about anything more than that, though. I have a repair kit that we can try to use to cut wires or break through some sort of door if we need. And right now it seems we do outnumber, if we count Boyle, whoever we're looking at.
The guy standing in the hallway will walk back into the room and close the door.
Well, that just slightly changed.
Alright, gentlemen, it's now or never, because, I can probably kill one of them, one of the guards standing out here, or the man sitting down. I don't know how long they're going to be sitting, though, so I need you guys to make a choice of who's dying.
Alright, Commissar. Should we try to remain undercover as we proceed, or should we break cover for an ambush? What do you think has the most livable outcome?
I would probably say let's try to stick undercover if necessary. We can at least get pictographs of them. Ascertain who they are from that.
Alright. Now,
Alright then. Do you want me to kill the guard or the leader?
I'd prefer if you didn't kill anyone.
he just said he
I need
wanted
to know who to be
stop it.
aiming at for if shit goes bad.
Is there
Dealer's
anything
choice.
Gotcha. Is there anything you can fire on that would... Is there anything you could fire on that would just seem to be a broken light to them, that would distract them or pull one or two of them away?
It's a las weapon. This will go off like a beacon in the night.
That is true. Keep thinking of ballistics.
I have the stummer to prevent the sound, but it's a laser. Kind of hard to
The
hide.
light will literally go off. You're correct. Preacher,
Yes.
depending on where you are right now, is there any sort of device you can find that would be intent on recording that we could try to make use of, that we could hack or something? Any sort of recording device that maybe had been on anyone who was going through the area, any of the guards that they might have put down?
Remember the camera that was looking at us once we entered?
Yes.
There's gotta be a security booth somewhere here.
We should work on finding that one.
Who knows, maybe the person is this paranoid that he would also have cameras within his office. And we can get a recording of what happened as well as delete any evidence of us being here.
Especially if they really do own what they own and have say over any of the footage. They'd be able to go through it before anyone would have any chance of seeing it.
Indeed.
Well, I've just about cleared up this mess out here, so... Do we have any pictographs of them?
Boyle will have whipped out his data slate and just snapped a photo of the guard and the photo of the back of the guy's head through his scope. It's grainy, but I got one of the guards, back of the other dude's head. Goes back to full aiming on the leader. Other than that, unless if you can get him to turn around.
Alright, is there any one of us near enough to perhaps not get caught, yet make some sort of distraction, some sort of sound or a knock on the wall they would notice or check out, while the other two proceed to try and find that security area?
Councillor, you're pretty good at distractions, aren't you?
Well, worked once, can maybe try it again. I mean, what's the worst that can happen?
I would worry about having too many instances reoccurring with the same face yet. Right now, I can hear what's going on and I'm beginning to get some view of it. I can't leave the vent yet. Otherwise, obviously, they'll see me come through the wall. I can try to proceed to see if I can work my way around to where the security cameras would be, though, and get control of that. Preacher.
Yes.
Depending on where you are right now, what options do you think you have where you're standing?
I believe I would most likely be able to shadow someone, shadow a security guard that changes places at the security booth, try and enter and grab what is needed. As for I know how a data room looks like and a data stitch, but I won't be able to verify or access it.
Right. I could make my way to the data room. The issue is, I could get out of it the same way I entered if I go to the vents. I just need to know how I'll be able to get access to any of the tech once I'm there. Alright. I'll make my way around the vents and see what areas I can get into. Commissar, do go ahead. Sorry.
No, it's quite alright. I'm gonna have to actually get out of here. It says I've been around this too long. If there is security cameras, it's gonna start looking suspicious.
True. You get some good space. Preacher, make your way to the security booth. I'll try to find the data area through the ventilation system. And Boyle, keep your eyes peeled. If anything breaks our cover, take whatever shot you feel will be most advantageous, keep to the shadows, and try to report to us anything you see that could be a way out.
Just as you say that, the two men walk up, put on their coats, and begin walking to the door.
They're beginning to walk to the door. I am losing my shot. I'm going to be taking it unless if I get any negative saying that I shouldn't.
Commissar.
Negative.
I could, if I coordinate well with the Tetris, I could do a snatch and grab.
Sounds
That
good.
sounds used to me, yes.
I'll tell Tetricus when to be in front so that you can pick him up quickly. And Boyle will, using his prey sense to sort of keep track of the movement of those three guys, he is going to vox Tetricus and tell him to be at the front, ready to pick someone up at the time that I think they'll be able to make it to the lobby. Or like outside.
Begins driving out of the garage. I've got it.
Heading to the van.
You look over Boyle and he's slowly driving out, getting in line with the car in front of him.
I shadow both the bald man and his bodyguard and tell Boyle, when I act, and if the bodyguard tries to do something funny, splatter his brains all over the walls.
You know, that would have been a great suggestion when I could see them, but currently they're behind about, call it 5 feet of rockcrete. This thing's good, it is not that good.
Yes, well, I'll wait until they're outside so I can hopefully drag the VIP directly into the van.
Oh, that'll be helpful. Yep, I can do that.
The men walk out into the lobby, walk over to the elevator, then walk into the elevator. The door closes.
Wait, that elevator?
Yep.
Shit.
Don't worry, I still got eyes on him.
How deep? Or how high?
Which way are they going?
They're going to the lobby. They're going to...
Heading
Oh,
down.
okay.
Looks like
Good,
they'll
good.
be out soon. May have told Buddy to be a bit late considering the traffic, but we'll figure it out.
Okay.
At this moment, they will walk into the lobby. They're just standing there talking for a little while.
Neil, while he's outside his office, see if you can break in through the vents. Perhaps something
Yes.
important.
I was just about to say, while this is happening, I'm going through the vents trying to make my way to the, I was going to say data room. And then once making it through there, I'm going to, making it to where there is and looking out the vent, I'm going to see if there's anyone or anything going on there. And if I can get out, I want to proceed to try and troubleshoot what ways I can get that data off of the devices for us.
And the preacher will feel a hand on his shoulder and say, and then you'll hear Franz say, I just thought I'd come to watch the ministrations.
Not as young as I used to be.
The two men will walk out the door out to the street. Lighting their glow sticks, they will stand on the street looking back and forth. Chatting.
Boyle, Tetricus, eyes up.
I have a shot.
Tetricus begins driving and is 1 block away from the building. You hear a sound in your microbead. I'm stuck. The car in front of him is not moving, and Tetricus, you can see him standing there, sitting there in the van, sort of frustrated.
Tetricus is a block away. You guys think you'll be able to get him there safely enough? Or quickly enough? Oh, well, actually, there's an idea. Pretend to be... Well, I guess you don't really have the scarred faces for it, but I guess if you can imitate some low gothic slang, you can try to get him to safety.
Anyone able to make certain they can hear your voices and not see your faces?
At this moment, you can see several vans driving up, several motorbikes, and the whole gang seems to be there. Several of them walk out, as well as an armed guard, and the gangers are beginning to board the cars and trucks.
Yeah, I don't think we have this guy.
His pickup is here. Roll it off.
I can still get the
well,
data.
I could still...
No. We'll let him go.
I'll let him go.
He walks out, looks back and forth. The two of his talk, smile, seems to be confirming something. He nods, looks back and forth, takes a final glance up the building, and he will look at exactly at your location, Boyle, and he will just stand there and stare straight up at you.
Boyle would have tried to read his lips through the scope while he was talking to that person, seeing what they were like talking about, but see if that's possible.
Yeah, do a linguistics test at a -10.
Got it.
High
Is that just high gothic?
Mhm.
All right. One additional.
Sick. Yes, he is saying that the councillor, he has the councillor in the palm of his hand. The deal went down, and they're moving from here, and they have a new order. Move into the wasteland, get as many of them as you can. Continue trying the injection. See if it sticks.
Boyle hearing that and then seeing him stare at him is just going to see if he can, like, he's going to remain stock still and just going to see if he can be passed off, like, in his little hiding hole.
Yes. Yeah, he just stands there and looks up at you for quite a while. Then just looks back and forth between the buildings. Please do a stealth test.
Will do. 1 additional.
You're fine. He just glances up at the buildings while taking a smoke.
Boyle will whispering now. It sounds like they're moving towards the barons. That's where they're getting the mutants from. They're giving them some sort of injection.
I see.
They are definitely more involved than we first.
Boyle, are you done up there?
I've moved a bit, but I'm able to see them all.
Okay, good. Neil, how's the bedding going?
I hope there's no eyes on you, Boyle. I've made my way over to the data room, trying to check if there's anyone in here yet. Then I can work my way through the software and see if there's any available way to get any of that off of the device for us. If I look, do I take a sort of test or check to see if anyone's around before I get out of the vent?
Martin?
Yeah. The two guys who came down to the van, they're standing around talking, the boss and his friend. They look up for a little while and just stand there and smoke their glow sticks. Everyone else, you hear this roaring, thunderous echo of motorbikes and autocarriages driving off down the street, leaving just the boss and his friend on the sidewalk. They're standing next to their rather exquisite autocarriage with skulls and sort of hot flames on the side and these huge metal pipes coming out of the front. He opens the door and just stands there for a while, finishing the smoke.
If the area is clear, I'd already be in the data room trying to get the data off of their surveillance.
They're clear, it's just the two of them. If we want to make a move, it would be now.
While I'm finding out what they've seen and how much they were watching us or themselves, I can get the data, get into the vent, and begin making my way back out towards where the others are, or towards an exit if they are already seen. But I am leaving, though, whether or not the shot happens, up to the actual military man.
Got it. We will take that afterwards, yeah.
What do you mean, Franz is
Now
sick?
or never, preacher. Or I need to think that you need stuff.
Commissar, your command.
Tetris, what's the problem? Why are you not here yet?
You see
Getting the
Tetrick is
data.
stuck 2 cars behind.
Tetris.
I'm stuck in traffic.
Shit.
If we
Grab
make a
his
move,
car.
can you force your way through?
Yes.
That case. Neil, you better be ready by the time things start sparking.
I've got the data. I'm proceeding down to where we are heading. However, I am crawling through vents.
Okay.
Also,
Commissar.
Neil, you get an inspiration point.
Commissar, can you apprehend the suspect? I believe you're better in hand at hand than this old man.
Well,
He
can
finishes his
certainly
low
try.
stick, puts it
He
down on
takes
the
out-
ground, stomps it with his foot, and leans on the van to begin to enter.
And Franz will start walking up to him, clicking a lighter and going, piece of crap. Says, and then we'll basically just sit there and throw it. Make a show of looking around and go, excuse me.
He turns over just as he's holding one hand on the door and one hand on the roof of the car. He just turns over to look at you while his friend walks around the car. As his friend moves around the car, Boyle, you see him grab into his vest with his right hand as he's looking at Franz approaching.
And he's going to be holding a low stick in one hand with a look in his face as, come on, can you help me out here?
And from the other side, Nicholas will be like, "Oh, no worries, I got you," as he puts his metallic hand through the car to grab the person in the back seat.
Boyle is going to wait until he thinks that the commissar is within like a short hop, basically like a short jaunt from the man, and then he's going to take the shot. At the bodyguard, that is, or the friend.
All right, because I thought you were just shooting the guy that I was walking up to.
No, it was at the time, but this is the place.
Yeah.
All right. I'm gonna try to track what's happening here now. So you're shooting the.
I'm walking up to the guy that we think's in charge, and Boyle is taking a shot at the bodyguard that's put his hand inside the coat. And the
bodyguard who I've had like a full aim on for the past.
Let's do one thing at a time. Boyle, take your shot.
Yep.
All right, here we go. Do I have bonuses for shooting an unaware target?
You have whatever test you have.
I'm just asking because I'm pretty sure that in Dark Heresy there are bonuses for shooting an unaware target, and I wanted to make sure that
It's a plus 30 if he's unaware of you.
All right.
Okay, fair enough.
All right, perfect. That is 12 additional degrees of success.
Yeah, I think you're fine.
Jesus.
I think you're fine.
And with cold shot to the head, yes.
Yep.
It also
you have
has
time to aim. You have time for a full aim as well.
Oh yes, that is everything included. Here is the damage, and then I believe I have 2 more for accurate.
You have to call
along
out
with
because
tearing,
I
which lets
cannot
me
see
reroll
it.
them all.
Yes.
I'll call it out for you. Oh my god, he Righteous Fury too, Jesus Christ.
That 1 is going to be replaced with a 5. So it's going to be a 10, a 9, and a 5. Or I'm sorry, I have to drag out my screen so I can see the number that I rolled. Oh, there we go. So that's going to be a total of 25, 30 damage, pen 6, felling 4.
More than I think he just got a free lobotomy, dude.
Yeah, he reaches in his jacket to grab some sort of weapon, and his head is missed. The stummer was turned on, so there's no sound. There's just a flash of light, and suddenly his head is gone. Boyle will then immediately start booking it in the opposite direction, running through a pre-planned escape route to get out of there as quickly as possible. He voxes, "You're on your own. I'm getting the fuck out of Dodge."
And as the round hits the bodyguard, Franz will speed up half a step, pull out the plasma pistol in a half action, and slam it under his chin and say, "Really shouldn't smoke. It'll kill you, but let's go for a nice wee walk."
Nice. The guy is thoroughly dead. His head just splatters. You see him ricochet off the car. No, I'm not going to compare it to anything, but you see his head jolt over the car and then jolt back, and he just falls lifeless on the ground with a thud. No one on the street seems to be paying it any attention yet. A car stops. You see it immediately speed up, and you hear this skidding of the wheels as they drive off. No one else seems to have noticed.
At this time, if I may,
the guy that you're approaching, Franz, he immediately turns around, panics, starts grabbing inside his vest.
I wouldn't do that if I were you. As I try to grab him and restrain him.
Do it.
As he's distracted
I succeed with 1 degree.
Oh, that's it? I'm gonna use a wrestler and bulging biceps. I'm gonna use athletics instead of strength and do to bulging biceps a plus 20. Cybernetic a plus 10 to all strength.
Nice.
Success with 6.
Boy, oh boy.
Nice.
I'm gonna do another one since I succeeded. This is unopposed. This is to use special use command Truffle.
I roll a nat 1.
Fuck!
I rolled a nat 1. I rolled a fucking nat 1.
Well, I have him sustained, but he's slippery. You know what? No, I'm gonna roll a nat 1 as well. Let's
go.
No, I wasn't. He's slippery. I can't cuff him just yet. But
Shit,
he's slippery. But I have him under control.
He's slipping out of your grip. The best possible outcome for him. You slip walking forward. Your hands just fumble. You fall up against the car, and he slips out from your grip, just ripping your hands off him. And he just starts backing off, pulling in a actually, he's gonna pull his sword, and he's going to just yell at the top of his lungs. He's just gonna start yelling. Yeah, and then he is going to attack you. Roll initiative.
Oh, what's that always start of? We were so good at the best roll that what?
Bad luck, bad luck. It was going so well.
And the drums are kicking off.
Ooh, we're all the same. What's your agility?
50. Specifically, it's 53.
Right. You win. Everybody roll. He gets a yeah, he gets a surprise round. He gets a nat 1.
I'm about to say, sorry, just to check. I would have said right about when the shot was taken off, I would have made my way hopefully out of the vent system. I have the data. I have a little bit of poison, a repair kit, my shotgun, sword, what I had before, that sort of thing. Yeah,
I think we're going to continue here next session because I can see this getting kind of bad.
Yeah,
possibly. So
it was going
the
well for a while.
last scene is that Tetricus sees the shot being taken. You just hear the skidding of the wheels. He turns around the corner, pushes a car to the side as his van begin to approach. You grab him, he pulls away, runs back, unsheaths his sword, runs at you to attack you. Boyle, you immediately react, mount your, or you're already descending down. You as well, Neil, and you can see the van begin to turn around some of the cars and approach the entrance.
I was about to say, so I know what direction to
as
go
you're
in.
standing there,
Yeah.
people begin to scatter from the streets. People begin to scream. You see some gangers appear from around the corner, running in your direction. And as Tetricus drives up to you, that's where we cut until next session.
Gotcha.
Man.
So just
Everybody gets 400 XP for awesome rolls.
Nice.
I cannot believe the sheer amount of tension without a shot being fired. This is some James Bond action that we've seen here.
Oh,
I also enjoyed the dynamic the entire time of Boyle and Nicholas seeming to be very much the sort of special units, but the entire time having to have a back and forth with them between Neil and Franz on what we're going to actually do.
I'm impressed with how how much planned and tactical everything was from you guys. Again, I didn't know what to expect from this, but you really had a plan, and this was...
Well, we do know that we couldn't have messed with that race since we've been said it would affect negatively the operation if something happened to this person, and something did happen, and now we try to fix it.
Mm-hmm.
We do know, though, for when we pick up next, just to make some things a bit clear, you guys are generally... Franz and Nicholas are generally in the same area. The shot's been fired, Tetricus has noticed, and